Good evening, everyone. So we are on verge of starting this webinar on business analysis. We are doing this under the auspices of MVL Consulting, and thanks to Mr. Makarand Lonkar, who has made it possible. And thanks to all of you who have registered and have joined this webinar. To start with, the short introduction about myself. I am Hiren Malani, currently working at Virtusa Polaris. It was Polaris Consulting before. Post-merger, it has become Virtusa Polaris. I am heading there one of the European clusters as a delivery director. I have around 20 plus years of IT experience and had started my career as a business analyst. So that is the predominant reason that I am addressing you folks on this webinar of business analysis. Ups and downs in my career have happened. However, I have always gone up and up as far as my teaching passion goes. I am currently a visiting faculty at Symbiosis in Pune. I am teaching business analysis, a host of subjects on banking and financial markets. And as a part of that, I will be doing a lot of corporate training as well. So this is in short about myself. Okay. What I have planned today is to give, you can say, a high level overview on business analysis. Of course, based on my experience and the projects, what all I have executed in the past. And in addition, a good amount of alignment, what we have done as a part of the IIBA course, because as a part of this MVL consulting services, we also are authorized, partner for IIBA for their certification in India. Okay, so a good amount of alignment will be there in terms of concepts, and how the things progress further. Because what I have seen with IIBA as well, basis their, the details what they share, their concepts over version 1, version 2 of the Babok, and now version 3, which is the latest. The things are evolving at their end as well. The classic example is of governance, which was missing in version 2. Now, in a very limited form, they have incorporated in version 3. Okay, so things at IIBA are also evolving. However, it evolves and it matures over a period of time. Correct. So the plan for today is to have, walk you through this business analysis, what it is, what is the role of a business analyst, how it aligns, correct, and then, what all we cover as a part of this course at a high level, of course. And then if there are any questions, you can, type that question in that question pane towards the end, correct, or you can type it. And of course, if you are very tempted, you can just raise a hand, yeah. And if it is not disrupting the flow of this discussion in the presentation, then we'll be very happy to address those questions. And towards the end, we have also given an email address, right, where you can post your questions, and we'll be, able to help you with that. And of course, we are all connected, you can say e-connected, and we can, address your queries, any clarifications, whatever you have, and then we can take it ahead. So this is the plan for today. Yeah. And let's take it ahead from here. Okay. So I'm assuming you can view the screen. This is the first slide what I have displayed the business analysis, the slide number 1. Now I'll be slowly moving to slide number 2. So just we'll take a stop for a couple of seconds and then try to see if everybody is able to hear me. Correct. Yeah. And able to see the screen which has been shared. In case if you are unable to hear me, yeah, then just raise a question or just give us a text or something on the software, and then we'll be able to check that out. I'm assuming good number of people are able to hear me and able to see the screen, the first slide, that is business analysis. Yeah. Yeah, so I am seeing a good number of participants are confirming. We have got Nitin, Amol, Padmaraj, Kareem, Mullah. They are confirming, Nishit, they are confirming that I am audible and they are able to view the slide as well. Right? So then we can start with this. Okay, and then specific questions, we are also recording the questions, so don't worry about it. We'll be able to, respond to your queries as well as meet your expectations as well. Okay, of course, not exceeding your expectations, but meeting your expectations. Yeah. Okay, so let's start. Okay, so let's go ahead with this. We are on the Christmas Eve. Tomorrow is Christmas, a good day. Of course, we have our Honorable Prime Minister today in Pune to inaugurate the metro. So it's a good day for us because it's an auspicious day, right? Okay, so it's an auspicious day. Let's start with this webinar. So the agenda is a small walkthrough, you can say, of the Standish Group report, chaos report, correct? So let's start with the chaos and then slowly clean up the things and be clear about what we are trying to do over here. Part 2, business analysis paradox. Then what is business analysis? Who is a business analyst? Then slowly moving towards the IIBA, collaboration and alignment. What are the knowledge areas? They've introduced a new model this time. That is the core concept model. We'll try to have a look at it. Then, especially from my perspective, basis my experience from last 15 years in this field and teaching business analysis, what I feel are the nuts and bolts of business analysis domain, and what all you need to know or you need to have an exposure to or an experience to become a successful business analyst. Okay. And finally, a short Q&A session we can have. We'll try to address maximum questions. And if need be, we can again reconnect and address all your queries. Okay. So I'm going further with the first topic on Standish Group report. You definitely must have read it somewhere or, heard about it. But this is what the perspective is. Overall, what we have seen in last 20-25 years in the IT industry, you call it as a services industry or the product, IT product industry, it has evolved, picked up, slowly matured, but at this point of time, still we are faced with a good amount of failures or the challenges in terms of our projects. Now, why it is very important to have a look at this chaos report, because there are certain, kind of items they have highlighted, kind of eye-openers for business analyst, because it directly links to what business analysts do. So it is a kind of an eye-opener. And it definitely helps to understand from where this is coming, right? So to start with, why it is a chaos report. In our industry, the IT industry, still we are having good number of projects which are failing, and a very big percentage of projects, are being challenged. So what this report has done, this report has categorized our projects into 3 categories. The first category is the projects which are successful, right? the projects which are challenged, second category, and the third category are impaired projects which are cancelled. So if you see this slide 3 at the bottom, the overall sample what they have taken, especially a huge chunk of this sample comes from the North American markets, because the North American markets, the industries or the corporations in the North American markets are the biggest spender of dollars for IT and IT projects. So if you see the statistics over there, the success rate overall is hardly 16%, the challenged projects are 52%, and impaired or cancelled are 31%. So successful projects are those which are delivered on time, within budget, and what all functions and the features they have promised, they have delivered as per that. Challenge projects are those which are 52, around 52, 52.7 are those which are delivered. However, they have exceeded the timelines, they have exceeded the budget, correct? And they have compromised or not delivered the functions and the features which were promised at the inception. And finally, the impaired projects. The impaired projects are the projects which are cancelled, in the sense those are pure failures. So that is going up to 31%. So this is a kind of an eye-opener. If you see the categorization in challenged and the impaired projects is huge, right? And the issue over here is that overall the perception is, or the thought process is, that a good root cause analysis is not being done, and the mistakes what we are making are repeating again and again. Correct. And what we have seen, and basis my experience also, that if anything is being failed or being challenged, we are always good at covering up, or we are ignorant or ignoring it. Correct. So it's an eye-opener, and we definitely need to see what best can be done over here. Correct. And a good amount of work is lying in the hands of the business analyst and the business analysis domain, which can help reduce this percentage of challenged projects or impaired projects and move them into the successful projects. So what they have, depicted is that the software projects are in a chaos, right? But the message is that we can't, or we cannot longer imitate the 3 monkeys. Means we cannot hear no failures, see no failures, and speak no failures. So we have to be transparent, and we need to accept this and try to improve upon this to make our projects a success. Yeah. So this was on slide 3. I am moving to the next slide. So you see over here, continuing from the previous slide, the statistical information in terms of their analysis and their sampling. The predominant success factors, for a project is user involvement, correct, executive support, clear statement of requirements, and realistic expectations. So the top 3-4 factors are the major ones which are instrumental in making a project a successful project. Okay. So let's have a view of this, correct, and then we can discuss further. So keep this in mind for the successful project. I'm going to this next slide, that is slide number 5. Now this is pretty interesting one, These are the challenge projects. So the challenge projects are those projects which are of course delivered, but those projects which have exceeded on the timelines, the budgets, and who have compromised on the functions and the features. Now what are the factors which are instrumental for this challenge projects? Lack of user input. Then we have incomplete requirements and specifications. Changing requirements and specifications. Correct. So if you see this, the top 3 factors which are instrumental for this. And in this, if you see the role of a business analyst or the work what we do, it's predominantly involved in requirements and specifications. So definitely we can see that we are in the limelight. The business analyst is in the limelight. And then if you go to the next slide, that is slide number 6, these are impaired projects, or the projects which are failed. Means at the first instance they have failed, and then there has been a restart. Okay, so you see the top factors out here: incomplete requirements, lack of user involvement, unrealistic expectation, lack of resources, and of course changing requirements and specifications. So then we will say, or the business analyst will point, that the requirements are changing, the business is changing the requirements. What are we supposed to do? But we have to accept it. The business is going to change, correct? And it is given. You just can't say that you can't change it, because the situation or the market is so dynamic that the requirements are going to change. So we have to be up to the mark to meet those expectations of the business. So net, in the previous 3 slides, what we have seen, correct, the slide number 4, slide number 5, and slide number 6, you see that good amount of, highlight is being towards requirements, specifications, incomplete requirements, user involvement. So here you can see maximum involvement is of a business analyst or a team of business analysts who are involved in doing this, correct? Also in terms of unrealistic expectations, because at the inception of the project, the business analysis is involved along with the key stakeholders, the project manager, the program manager, based on the size of the project and what kind of expectations we are setting. Are we setting the right expectations, and whether the team can deliver based on these expectations? So this has been kind of a very interesting and eye-opening kind of an information which has been extracted from this report. And from there, actually, we can start our journey of business analysis, right? So nothing can be discounted over here. Over a number of years, we have seen in the field of IT, correct, when the things were not going up to the mark or not being delivered, a good amount of passing the buck used to happen, and a lot of things were pushed under the carpet, correct. Now that is the past. The times have changed, and now we are looked upon to deliver value to business, and we have to be transparent. We can't do the buck passing, or you can say that the users are not getting involved or the expectations are unrealistic. I'm not sure how I'm going to draft the requirements and do the specifications and all. Ample amount of experience is available on the table. Tools and techniques are there. Support is available. So we need to leverage that, be transparent, be truthful, and then do our job as a business analyst. So this is what is the message for this initial slides. Okay. Taking a step further, now I am on slide number 7. Okay. So this has been a bit of a historical diagram, but it is very, very true diagram. And in today's time also, this diagram applies. Like how we used to have in our IT industry, whether we are sitting at our desk, in our meeting room, or whether we are in our washroom. The truth is always there, that the boss is always right, the first statement. And the second statement is, if you have not understood, try to refer statement 1 above. Likewise over here, this is the truth. So the paradox over here is in our field of IT, and of course where the business analyst is going to play a key role in terms of what kind of an application or a system is being developed. So if you see the paradox, for the benefit of understanding, what I have done is I have put a numbering over here, the numeric. So you can scan this diagram or go through this diagram starting number 1 to number 10. So if you see the customer, This is the end customer or the end user of our application of our system. So how the customer has explained it, diagram 1. Then you go to picture number 2, how the project leader, you can say project leader or the business analyst or the project manager has understood it. Picture 3, how the analyst has designed it, along with, you call it as a technical designer or an architect or whatsoever, you know. And picture number 4, how the programmer has done the job, coded it, how the business consultant or a business analyst has described it, picture 5. Picture 6, how the project was documented. Correct. So that is a universal problem we have in our IT industry. The documentation is not up to date, it is not up to the mark, and it is always unavailable. Then what operations installed it, that is IT operations has installed it, picture 7. Picture 8, the poor customer, how the customer was billed, how the support was provided, picture 9, and finally what the customer really needed, that is picture 10. So you see, it's a good amount of paradox, and you see the communication gaps, the gaps in understanding, the gaps in communication, the gaps in documentation. So many things are there, and across all these areas or spheres, what all a business analyst can do and help to remove these gaps, to address these issues of communication, expectation mismatch, can all be taken care of if we do our job well and do a structured approach, adopt a structured approach and take it ahead. So this was a high level view of things. That is a paradox. I'm going to the next slide. That is slide number 8. Take a couple of seconds of pause here, okay, and I will proceed on this. I am on slide number 8. So we'll be starting now on slide number 8. So what is business analysis? Correct. And this is what we are adapting from the IIBA, that is International Institute of Business Analysis, the latest version 3, BABOK. Business analysis is the practice of enabling change in an enterprise by defining needs and recommending solutions that deliver value to the stakeholders. So what I have done here is highlighted deliver value. Correct. This was not there historically. It's the most important thing now. Whatever role you are playing as a business analyst, a business architect, a domain consultant, or a subject matter expert, what matters now is what value you are delivering to stakeholders. Stakeholders, as we go further, you will come to know, stakeholders can be any. The stakeholders can be the CEO of an organization, the CIO of an organization, the managing director, the program manager, or even the end user of an application which you have designed, developed, and implemented. So this is a practice enabling change, defining the needs, recommending solutions, and finally which should deliver value. If this is not delivering value, it's of no use and people will stop using your application or system. Taking it further, business analysis enables an enterprise to articulate needs and the rationale for change, to design and describe solutions, again, that can deliver value. So business analysis is going to be the core piece which will get involved in doing all these things, understanding the needs, the requirements, the challenges, the pain points, what is the rationale for change, design, describe the solutions which will eventually deliver value to business, because the funding or the budgets are sponsored by business. Business analysis is performed on variety of initiatives. The initiatives could be of the nature of strategic, tactical, or operational. Correct. So strategic, to take an example, if the business is planning to go in a new line of business, changing the entire model, the business model, taking a strategic decision. So that is an initiative of the kind strategic. Tactical, short-term in nature, trying to get some operational benefits, cost benefits, correct? Helping their business to do better business, that is of a tactical in nature. Operational is pure operational, which is going to impact the operational staff. So the IT initiatives can be done to make or build or gain these operational efficiencies. So the initiatives can be categorized across all three. However, what will matter is the kind of value we are delivering. And then these perspectives have been added towards the end. It can be done through an agile mode, agile way of doing the projects, executing the projects. It could be business intelligence, IT projects, business architecture, and business process management. This is just a perspective which has been given, right? There could be different perspectives as well, additional perspectives as well, correct? But this is just to set the context where this business analysis is involved, correct? So the most important thing over here, the variety of initiatives where the projects can be kickstarted and business analysis can be done, strategic nature, tactical nature, or operational nature. And the most important thing is, with the help of that change and the solution, we should be able to deliver value to business. So this is in a nutshell what business analysis is all about. We'll go to slide number 9. Here we go specific and try to understand who is a business analyst. Correct. So business analyst is any person who performs business analysis task. Correct. So there are various tasks what we do as a part of business analysis. We do requirements elicitation, we talk to business, we build relationship with business, we try to understand their pain points, we do documentation, we do vision and scope document, we do functional specification document, we do lot many tasks as a part of this business analysis, right? So any person who is involved in doing these tasks, right, and completing this task successfully is a business analyst. So the business analysts are responsible for discovering, synthesizing, and analyzing information from a variety of sources within an enterprise, including tools, processes, documentation, and stakeholders. So how to understand this is, the business analyst needs to have a good amount of investigative nature because they are discovering lot many things. They are discovering things, they are discovering pain points, they are discovering challenges, they are discovering the context, synthesizing it, a lot of information, and finally they are analyzing it. The source could be anything in an organization perspective. There are various tools we use. We follow certain processes. A lot of documentation is there. It could be as simple as you are trying to go through the business requirements document, or the business requirements as those have been documented by business. It could also be that if you are working on some compliance project, correct, which has been mandated by the government or the compliance agency, then going through that documentation to understand what these compliance requirements are, and then implementing those compliance requirements. If it is an IT project, as a part of the IT, if it is to do with the change in the processes, then changing those processes. So the documentation can be in any form and it can be from any source. And finally, of course, the stakeholders. Who all are the stakeholders? As I mentioned, across the hierarchy, they could be your stakeholders. In a nutshell, a stakeholder is a person who is going to get impacted by the success or a failure of this particular initiative or a project, right? So that person is a stakeholder. Right. So what we have done is, in the slide 9, the same slide on the left, there is a box which indicates the activities or the task what a business analyst performs at a high level, of course. Understanding enterprise problems and goals, analyzing needs, requirements, and designing solutions, devising strategies, driving change, and facilitating stakeholder collaboration. Typical roles, or you can say how a business analyst is being, kind of identified, or the designation which has been given in an organization, that is on the right: business architect, business system analyst, data enterprise architect, a management consultant, process analyst or a system analyst, product manager or an owner, requirements manager, etc. There could be n number of those. This is just an indicative list out here. Again, it changes from an organization to organization. Let's say, for example, you are working in an IT services company, then it could be a business system analyst or a process analyst or a requirement analyst or a business analyst. If you're working in some consulting firm, the designation will be different. If you're working in an IT product organization, the designation will be different. So it depends the kind of an organization you are working at. This will change. However, the task, the activities, what all you do are listed over there, and it is more or less the same. Over and above this, what in fact I have not highlighted, we have the designations, we have the task, the activities listed over here. What matters most as a business analyst to understand what governance he is going to follow. Because lately what we have seen is a good amount of work and understanding is required towards the governance framework. A lot amount of work needs to be done, and if you work towards it to build an efficient governance framework for business analysis, then these all things what we are doing will be a sure shot success. And who is the best person to design this governance framework? Is a business analyst himself, who has got good amount of exposure and experience in delivering this. So this is, in short, who is a business analyst. Of course, there is a good number of kind of frameworks, tools, which a business analyst is supposed to use and then churn out the output and deliver value to an organization. So that was the message on slide number 9. Moving to the next slide, that is slide number 10. So what IIBA, as a part of their body of knowledge, have highlighted or given us the knowledge areas, correct? So these are the 6 knowledge areas which a person or a business or a person who is playing a role of a business analyst should be knowing it, should be an expert in this, and as well as practicing it. Correct. So the expectation is that if you're planning for this certification, you should be knowing these knowledge areas inside out, in detail, and then you should be able to articulate this very well. So if you see this in 3 levels, the topmost level is business analysis, planning, and monitoring. So this typically happens at the inception of the project or when you are starting a new initiative. As a part of this inception, you need to do a plan. What is the plan? How you are going to do it? What all you are going to do? At the same time, how you are going to monitor it on an ongoing basis. It is not that a business analyst or the business analysis work gets started and over at the inception of the project. It has to be ongoing, because you are going to get involved till the end of the project, till the project becomes successful. So till the end, how the planning is done and how the monitoring is being done. So that is the first knowledge area, and what all we are going to do as a part of this. Second level you see over here, the strategy analysis, what strategy you are going to adopt to make it a success and how you go about doing it. So It can be at a project level, it can be at a program level. So the program is comprising of a good number of projects, right? So what strategy you are going to do? What is the business strategy? From business strategy, it goes one level down, how that strategy is made successful, right? So what are initiatives you need to do? Even if it is kickstarting a set of IT projects or any change projects or a process change projects, eventually all will roll up in making this business strategy a success. So that understanding is required. So that is part of your strategy analysis. Next to it is requirement analysis and design. So as the project starts, how you are going to do the requirements analysis, how you are going to do the elicitation, how the design is going to happen, those definitions. And as a part of that, the third layer over there on the left is elicitation and collaboration. Elicitation is actually capturing the requirements, documenting, collaborating with various stakeholders. If there are multiple departments which are involved, how do you collaborate? Get your requirements, document those requirements, correct? And again, now the times have changed. We used to follow waterfall. Now it is agile. In agile mode, how the elicitation happens, it's an approach. So in that approach, how the elicitation and collaboration happens. Collaboration within our teams, project teams, if you are working in an agile mode, and to ensure successful delivery of the project. The next to it is a solution evaluation. What kind of solution you are giving? Are you building an application or a software from scratch, or you are building a product? How you are getting involved? The pros and cons of every solution, the cost benefit analysis of every solution, that is part of solution evaluation. And finally, the requirements lifecycle management. So at a high level, it gets divided into two parts. One is requirements development, and the second is requirements management. So the requirements move through an entire life cycle. Initially, they are developed, and then subsequently how those are managed. Because when we had at the inception said that the business changes, it's very dynamic. So the requirements also change. So we have to ensure that we have an entire requirements lifecycle management process in place, and then we take it ahead. So in a nutshell, these are the 6 knowledge areas, right? And to be very well conversant with all of these, very comfortable in using all the activities and the tasks within these, and should be very comfortable in practicing these knowledge areas as a part of business analysis, right? This is more of a perspective and a context, right? It is all encompassing. However, for a certain initiative, you might not need all knowledge areas, correct? Or there could be a team of business analysts working. So you might be playing a role in one particular knowledge area, or 2 knowledge areas, or 3 knowledge areas. That depends, again, based on the situation and the kind of the project or the initiative that is being planned. Big programs, what I have seen, it encompasses or involves all these knowledge areas, right? But again, if it is a smaller project or a tactical project, all these might not be required. But you need to be good in all these knowledge areas, have a knowledge of all these knowledge areas, and should be able to successfully practice these knowledge areas. So that is on slide 10. Moving to slide number 11. Okay. So this is something new which has been articulated and brought about as a change in the version 3 of Babok. So as I mentioned, they are also evolving. This was not there in version 2. However, they have put this in version 3. And the overall concept of business analysis, it goes or revolves around this core concept model. So let's take a couple of minutes to go through this core concept model. It's a conceptual framework, okay, for business analysis. what business analysis is and what it means to those performing these tasks, correct? And whatever perspective you take, we have seen the perspective, right? It's an IT project, a change process project, or business intelligence, or it is an agile project, whatever it is. Whatever industry it is, banking and financial services, retail, healthcare, any, right? Or manufacturing, what methodology you adopt, or your level in the organization, correct? Irrespective of that, they have put this model in perspective. It's more from understanding, it's a conceptual level. However, it gives you a good idea about what this business analysis is all about, correct? So what they're talking about is 6 core concepts: change, need, solution, stakeholder, value, and context, correct? So it's eventually coming to a framework-based approach for business analysis. So what these 6 core concepts are, that has been articulated on the next slide, that is slide number 12. So if you see there, the first core concept is change. What is a change? Correct. Now we know change is a part of life. In business also things change. Situation is dynamic. Competition is there. You need to bring about a change. Things which were being done 20 years back, those have to be changed. Because the things have changed, market has changed, expectations have changed, people have changed, processes have changed. So what is this change? The change is the act of transformation in response to a need. So if you see this table on slide number 12, all these 6 concepts, core concepts, are interwoven. There is some linkage with one another. So they go hand in hand, right? And those have to be understood together. So the change is the act of transformation in response to a need. Basically what change is doing is to improve the performance of an enterprise. The improvements are deliberate and controlled through business analysis activities. So business analysis is going to be the core for this change. So it is very, very important when you are changing something. The next is the need. A need is a problem or an opportunity to be addressed. Needs can cause changes by motivating stakeholders to act. Changes can also cause needs by eroding or enhancing the value delivered by existing solutions. So basically, there is a need identified, there is a new business opportunity, or there is an opportunity to kind of beat the competition. So that motivates the stakeholders to act. And this change can also cause needs by eroding or enhancing the value delivered by existing solutions. The third is a solution. Solution is a specific way of satisfying one or more needs in a context. So needs we have seen, it's a problem or an opportunity, and context is the 6th core concept. So a solution satisfies a need by resolving a problem faced by stakeholders or enabling stakeholders to take advantage of an opportunity. Correct. What is an opportunity now in India? Demonetization is an opportunity. So how to tap that opportunity, take benefits out of it? So the stakeholders have to be enabled with a solution so that we can take an advantage of this opportunity. That is the solution. The 4th one is a stakeholder. So here we come to know what or who the stakeholder is. A group or an individual with a relationship to the change, the need, or the solution. Stakeholders are often defined in terms of interest in, impact on, and who influence over the change. Stakeholders are grouped based on their relationship to the needs, changes, and solutions. So basically a person who is directly getting impacted by this change or the need identified or failure or success of that initiative of the project. The second last is a value, the worth, importance or usefulness of something to a stakeholder within a context. So basically, values can be seen as potential or realized returns, gains and improvements. It is also possible to have a decrease in value in the form of losses, risk and cost. Value can be tangible or intangible. Tangible is directly measurable, and tangible value has a significant monetary component. Intangible is measured indirectly. Intangible value often has a significant motivational component, such as a company's reputation or employee morale. So how we go about doing it? In this, something is known as a ROI analysis, that is return on investment. You check the returns, tangible returns, intangible returns, and you are able to put the ROI in perspective, and basis that you can measure the success of the initiative or the project. So a business analyst should be very comfortable. In fact, not only comfortable, an expert in doing the ROI analysis. Correct. And the last one is the context. The circumstances that are influenced by and provide understanding of the change. So the changes what are being happening or which occur are within the context. The context is everything relevant to the change that is within the environment. So basically we are talking about the environment or the organizational environment. Context may include attitudes, behaviors, beliefs, competition, culture, demographics, etc. So that is within the context. The change happens, the change is linked to a need. The need gives a solution. Stakeholder, the people impacted, and finally what is the value? Value coming out. The value is coming out in terms of your ROI, tangible benefits and intangible benefit. So this is all encompassing the core concept model, and what all you are doing or the project is within this core concept, it will be interlinked. So if you are able to have the perspective of this, it would be helpful and you will be able to articulate it. So this is about slide 12. It is important. So while understanding this core concept model, so while planning or performing a task or a technique, business analysts can consider how each core concept is addressed by asking following questions. So as soon as you start your project or an initiative, so you can check this in terms of or validate this against your core concept model by asking this high level questions. It's just an indicative list. There could be many more as well. So what are the kinds of changes we are doing? What are the needs we are trying to satisfy of all the stakeholders, the organization? What are the solutions we are creating or changing? Who are the stakeholders involved? What do the stakeholders consider to be of value? And what are the contexts that we and the solution are in? So again, a set of indicative questions. If you are able to get the answers, then definitely you are moving in the right direction. Right. So these are the questions which are following the core concept model. So this is on slide number 13. We'll go to the next slide. Slide number 14. So this is a pictorial depiction of what we just discussed about the core concept model in terms of the change, the need, the solution, the stakeholders, the context, and the value. This is more from an information standpoint. That is slide number 14. Okay. So now we'll go to the next one. That is slide number 15. So this is from a perspective, we can call it as to be successful in business analysis or being a business analyst, you should be very comfortable with these all, you can say, areas. And of course, there are many more. However, these are the predominant ones. You should be very comfortable in terms of, drafting the vision and scope of that initiative of the project or a program. Predominantly, it is scope. And within scope, we also have what is in scope and what is out of scope. After that, we do requirements. We write or build functional specifications. You should be very well conversant with ROI, that is return on investment analysis. You should be very comfortable with what is root cause analysis. Requirements elicitation and management is the bread and butter of business analysis or a business analyst. And finally, the user training. So this, what I have highlighted is basis the experience what I have. However, there are many more things which a business analyst is supposed to do. But if you are comfortable with this, you are an expert in this, definitely you can extrapolate and take up more activities or tasks which are directly linked to do business analysis and come out as a successful business analyst. Right. So this is a, you can say, high level overview what has been packaged on business analysis. Now I will pause. Correct. And then if there are any questions, we can take those. Okay. And then take it further from there. Okay. Of course, if you go to the next slide, the last slide where the email address is also there, you can post your questions over there and we can take it from there. Okay. So I will pause for a couple of seconds and then we can start the Q&A session. You can even type a question and we can pick it up from there. That's not a problem. Okay. So I think we have a couple of questions posed on this question box. So I will take one by one and then address those questions and take it ahead. Okay. So one we have is how to manage the timeline where analysis is more required when particularly if it's a regulatory project. So of course, timeline and all, it is part of your planning, right? And if more analysis is required, so it is more from an expectation perspective. So if it's a kind of project, then you are able to categorize it that it is a simple project, correct? A medium complex and a complex project. And if it is a, particularly if it's a regulatory project and we feel there are a good amount of business rules and a good number of stakeholders required to be managed, then of course as a part of planning, right, we can set the expectations with regards to the timeline, right? And also the maturity of the stakeholders, because if there are people who are doing this regulatory project for the first time, then definitely the timeline required is more, right? So basis that, we have to take a call and manage the timeline if you would like to do a good job. Of course, regulatory projects are pretty much stringent on their timelines, but of course, if we set the realistic expectation, we should be able to manage it, correct? Not only in our Indian context, overseas contracts also, the regulatory projects are driven by stringent timelines, but over a period of time, as we have matured in delivering IT projects, people have understood that basis your categorization of a simple project or a complex project, and if you categorize that project as a complex project, definitely you will have a realistic timeline set for it. So the next question I am taking is what kind of competencies are required for these two roles? Now, your role means which role we are talking about over here. We are talking about a business analyst role over here. Okay. Competencies is like competencies for a business analyst. Of course, the person should be kind of good in terms of analysis, good analytical skills, very good in communication, and very good in documentation. These are the primary things which are required to be a successful business analyst. Correct. If a person is unable to articulate well, then it is going to be difficult. So you can say communication wise, stakeholder management wise, documentation, right, language skills. And of course, if the person is coming with a domain background, so see the domains are, of course, if the person is coming from a banking and financial services background, then that person will definitely, okay. And if the person is working on a retail or a manufacturing project, right, then definitely he will add value, will have the right competencies to execute a project on that retail domain. There is a question on any training program for BA. Of course, we are conducting this training program for BA. Correct. Certification wise, it is that IIBA certification. Correct. Which is now accepted as an industry standard. Yeah. However, training program, we conduct the training program for a BA. It is across, you can say, 2 days or a 3 days program. Correct. And there will be a 5-day program as well based on the requirement and the level of depth you would like to cover. This helps definitely in terms of performing this business analysis activities in a successful manner. So we discuss about in detail what the knowledge areas are, what are the different frameworks, and enable you to build those frameworks. Correct. So going further, if you move on to the next project, you should be able to use those frameworks. Correct. And what are the standard tools and processes which are to be adopted while doing business analysis, that is covered as a part of this training program. Next question is, can a technical analyst with 3 years experience in BFSI domain, IT product company, move to a profile of a business analyst as he or she has a good understanding of the product? Yes, of course. If you are interested to play a role of a business analyst, nobody can stop you. Correct. And a technical analyst with 3 years experience, you can gain more knowledge on banking and finance, have a good exposure to the product. You can definitely get trained as a business analyst and then start playing a role of a business analyst. There are 2 things to it. The first thing is get yourself trained so that you are aware about all the processes, the tools and the frameworks. And the second part is you have to set the expectations with your manager. You definitely must be working with some manager in your organization. So you can, kind of discuss and make him understand what are your aspirations. So if you have the right background, the right training done, slowly from a technical analyst, you can play or start playing a role of a business analyst. So definitely you can become a business analyst. Okay. Next question is on elaborate a little more about ROI analysis. Okay, so ROI analysis, return on investment. Here you need a bit of a background in terms of finance. Correct. Finance in terms of not accounting, but in terms of understanding the cash flows. Because ROI is predominantly done basis the benefits and the cost. So benefits, as I mentioned, tangible benefits and intangible benefits. So if you're seeing tangible benefits, is basically the cash what you are getting, or the revenues you are generating, or the cost savings you are doing. So that is on your benefit side. And then what all cost you are incurring as a part of this project and this initiative. Correct. So putting these all things in perspective, the tangible benefits, the intangible benefits, the cost, after that has been done, you have to do a projection for the next 3 years or 4 years, right? Because that is what the project is going to run for. And after that, discounting these things to the present value, you will have to derive the ROI. The ROI is purely a formula driven, but you should be good in understanding these benefits, quantifying these benefits, tangible benefits, putting those things in a perspective, and then computing the ROI. It typically takes almost, you can say, 3 to 4 days to understand how the quantification happens. After you are comfortable with this quantification, you will be able to calculate the ROI. Okay. Next is, can you help us the challenges faced by BA when working with agile projects and coping up with them? Okay. It is to do with how soon you can change yourself. Correct. And you have to have that mindset. Correct. Because agile itself is a kind of an approach we take in terms of executing the project. Right. So if a BA is used to working in a traditional way, the waterfall model, initially he will definitely face some challenges in agile projects. But there are certain practices we follow in agile projects. If you are well conversant with those practices, and if you are good in collaboration, right, and you are good in adapting to change, definitely you will be able to work in agile projects, because agile itself is a kind of a different training which gets blended with this. So if you go through that training, definitely you will be able to successfully work as a BA in an agile project. Next one is, does a BA get involved in budgeting? Yes, of course. If you are interested, you will get involved in budgeting as well. However, the budgeting exercise and all is, you can say, day zero activities or even before day zero activities of a project. If you are interested, you can understand those budgeting things, how the budgeting for the project happens, how the estimation happens, effort estimation, cost estimation, and then you can take it ahead from there. So typically IT projects, if you are involved in, right, those are driven by IT budgets, and how the budgets are determined and those have been allocated to various initiatives and the projects, you can get a feel of it. But of course, you need to spend some couple of years as a BA and then start getting involved into these activities. Of course, you can get involved over there as well. Okay, I'm just browsing through other questions. So I think I just explained ROI analysis more, right? Now we need to take an actual model of ROI and walk you through that so you will understand it better. So I think I've just explained an ROI analysis. Okay. Does domain expert can also be called a business analyst? Yes, a domain expert can be called as a business analyst. What are the benefits of RCA analysis, that is root cause analysis? The benefit is that you will not repeat the same mistake again and again. Correct? And if you repeat the same mistake again and again, your boss is going to get pissed off. So to keep your boss happy, you should be very well, conversant with your RCA analysis. Okay. How important or value addition would be the certification for a BA? Okay. So I would say that certification definitely acts as a license, right? And as slowly the industry is accepting it as a standard certification, it is important, and it definitely helps you to kind of do justice to that role, because it is not only just ad hoc in terms of picking up a business analysis work and doing it. It definitely helps you to adopt a structured way of doing business analysis and taking it ahead. How to judge effectiveness of a BA? Okay, how successful is in terms of delivering the artifacts like scope document, business requirements document, functional specifications, etc. And what all has been documented in requirement specification, has that been implemented in the system or the solution, and how well your system has been accepted by the business and the end users. That determines the effectiveness of the BA. Then there is standard question in terms of career standpoint and all. I think this we can discuss, and when if there is an opportunity to meet in person, testing experience and all can move into a BA. Of course, you can move into a BA provided you are trained and you are having that knack to play a BA role. ROI analysis part of project sponsor from customer side. Of course, ROI analysis is there from customer side as well as from internal IT project standpoint. We can do ROI analysis. Okay. Importance of CCBA certification. That is IIBA. Correct. So it is important. Of course, as I mentioned, it serves as a license and it gives you a more structured way of performing this business analysis and definitely helps to be a successful business analyst. Product manager or a product owner, the person predominantly involved in projects which are product oriented, who are building products from scratch. Correct. So that is a person who is responsible for the product and rolling out the product. Okay, what I feel is a good number of questions and it's like bombarded with questions. Okay, so I think it will help to post your questions, keep posting your questions, and I will pick it up one by one and then respond, right? It is like a huge list. Yeah, you can please send an email. I think email address is indicated towards the end on slide number 16 or 17, right? Last slide. Yeah, and it definitely helps to post your questions over there and I will be more than happy to address those. Correct. And of course, good, interesting crowd, I think so. More than 50% have turned up. Correct. And still there, nobody is logging off. I'm not sure why. So, and good questions also. The standard questions what we have, no problem. And then we can take it ahead from there. Okay. We have that financial modeling I can announce on Tuesday. So Tuesday, I think so. Next week, Tuesday is the same time we have a webinar on financial modeling, because as I was planning for this business analysis session, I thought why can financial modeling be coupled together with that? So it definitely helps. So if the people who are more interested in that ROI analysis and what all it happens, your answers will be addressed in that webinar of financial modeling, where I will pick it up and do it in a bit detail. So you will get your answers over there as well. So that happens on Tuesday evening, same time. Correct. The links will be shared, or you can request for the link and you will get the link. And we will take care of financial modeling over there. So net for a business analyst, I think it's a logical thing to blend both the two, financial modeling and business analysis. It definitely helps because that is what I have been doing for quite some time. Okay. So nice participation from everyone and thanks a lot. I would like to stop here. Correct. And definitely for the training, I think good number of questions are there on the training for business analysis. As I mentioned, we can do the training spread across weekends also for the convenience. It goes for 3 days, 3.5 days. And what I was thinking, if it gets blended or coupled with financial modeling, then we can have a 1 week training, 5 days training bundled together for business analysis and financial modeling, which will gear you up for, playing that role of a business analyst. Okay. So thanks a lot and happy Christmas. I think so Christmas is there tomorrow. We are on the eve of it. It's a good day to have everybody of you. Thanks for your time and have a good weekend. Thank you very much. Good night.